Hi, SBR Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. It is Wednesday, December 9th. We are talking with professional sports bettor Ted Savransky, a.k.a. Teddy Covers. And Teddy Covers gave us an awesome call yesterday on SMU, Michigan. Anyone who missed it, Michigan was an 8-point underdog, got bet down to 6.5. Teddy Covers said he loved SMU despite giving all those points, and that's called nailing it. Teddy Covers, SMU covered by 20 points. Awesome call there. Tonight you're going to, you've decided to cover Chicago-Boston in the NBA with us. This is an interesting one. Boston on a nice little 4-game ATS winning streak, and the Bulls have lost 3 in a row ATS. Boston a small home favorite of -3, totals 200. I looked at this game on the overnight line, decided that I had no opinion on it whatsoever, so I passed. Interesting that you chose this one. Teddy, why'd you choose this one, and what play would you recommend?
Well, people like TV games, and to be perfectly honest, when you're going down the card for any given day and trying to decide which games are worthy of talking about, a TV game where I have an opinion is going to trump a non-TV game where I have an opinion, and this, of course, is the ESPN matchup for tonight. And these are two teams I've had decent reads on this year, both Boston and Chicago. The Celtics have been really good moneymakers for me, but not necessarily in this role. Boston has been at their best as road underdogs. And what I do for the first month of the NBA season, I'm trying to identify what teams do I want in what roles.
Right.
Boston as a road dog is absolutely, if I can make a case for the Celtics catching points in a hostile environment, I'm very interested. When you get to Boston laying points at home, it's a different story. Similarly with Chicago, the Bulls have made it very clear. I mean, even their last loss against Phoenix on Monday, very, very clear. Chicago can't lay points with the Bulls. I think they were 0 for the season as home favorites. And even in a max spot, an anti-Phoenix spot, a pro-Chicago spot, the Bulls still unable to get the win or the cover against Phoenix. So you don't want to be playing against Boston on the road. You don't want to be playing on Chicago as home chalk.
Right.
But in this matchup, the roles are reversed.
All right, so it sounds like then you're leaning towards Chicago here, or are you looking at the total? Because I'm thinking that Chicago, of course, to start the season was reported to be playing a much more up-tempo offense, which did translate into some higher-scoring games at times. But really, over the last 8 or 10 games, it hasn't really been the case. They've mostly stayed under 200. They haven't been a much of an overtrender. But in this one, I'm thinking that we might have a little bit of a different situation, and I'm leaning towards the over 200, although I haven't bet it.
Yeah, I mean the Bulls again. The markets put the cart before the horse when it came to Chicago, particularly when it comes to the totals. And we've seen this Bulls team cash under after under after under, despite the fact that they're not playing a whole lot of defense and that they've been a fairly high scoring and decent shooting team.
They haven't been that high scoring. I mean, I don't know if they've had, I think it's been like a while since they've had like a game that went over 200. I believe, or they might have had like one that hit 200 over the last 8 or 10 games or something like that.
Sure, and it's not unusual for a team to have a lower scoring stretch based in part on who their opponents are.
Right.
And the Bulls have faced a number of slowdown teams in recent contests. That's not the case tonight in Boston. I would look towards a higher scoring affair because, look, Chicago's made it clear our defense is not that good. The Celtics offense has been very good. And when you read the quotes coming out of that Bulls locker room, they're concerned about their defense right now.
Yeah.
As well they should be. They gave up, 42 in the fourth against Phoenix, and just they could not get a stop with the game on the line.
Right.
That being said, the Celtics defense is certainly not elite. They like to push the pace. I would expect a fairly high-scoring game here, but I would also expect off the back-to-back losses. This is a Bulls team that hasn't lost 3 in a row all year. I'm expecting an inspired effort from Chicago. When you talked about all the success Boston had on that road trip, closed out with 3 wins their last 4 games. They covered all 4. The only loss coming at San Antonio in competitive fashion. Well, Celtics returning home off a road win. How about 0 for the season so far this season? They have not gotten the job done straight up or against the spread. They did win against Philadelphia by 4 points in the one previous return home.
Right.
But of course didn't sniff a point spread cover in that contest. I lean Chicago here plus the points, also lean the over as well for those of you looking to parlay.
All right, awesome analysis. Teddy Covers, I'm liking the over myself right now. It's about 200, and Teddy Covers also liking Chicago plus 3. Thanks so much, Teddy.